Howdy. So today we're going to be looking at an Inaros build using Gloom as his helminth, and it's going over his 4. So as you can see, I do have some Archon shards on him. We have 1 green for corrosive stacks. I had 2. I would recommend 2, but it's not needed. I just needed to put it on another frame because I was testing stuff. Again though, not needed. Then these 2 are for energy max. These are also not necessary. I just have it so I don't need primed flow, saving a mod slot. So we have Gloom here because obviously it gives the slow, which is nice, and I'll show that the slow has some synergy with his other abilities in a second. But it also gives lifesteal. Now most people don't use it for the lifesteal, it's usually just for the slow, but in Nars's case, he's all health. So being able to get 8% lifesteal with how much strength we have, or like 5% at base, is very, very nice. It helps make him much, much tankier as long as you're dealing damage to enemies within the radius. So the build is a pretty typical Inaros build, physique just to really maximize our HP. You can run any aura you want. I do have an Umbral Forma, so I can fit 3 Umbral mods on. This is not needed at all. Honestly, the only reason I have it is because you get the extra health and strength. The armor is pretty worthless since his base armor is terrible. If you do feel like doing it, it's sort of worth it, but at the same time, it's not necessary. If you were to not want to run these, you could go normal intensify, or precision intensify is actually an option. Actually, precision intensify would probably be better if you don't have like these maxed out and you don't want to run both of them, and then normal vitality also works. So you'd go normal vitality and precision intensify instead. But for now, I'm using triple armor mods, not needed though. Hunter Adrenaline for basically infinite energy so long as we're taking damage because he has nothing but health. Adaptation for some more tankiness. Stretch for range to affect our 2 and our 4. It does affect our 1, though it's not entirely necessary. Prime Continuity just for more duration. That way our 2 lasts longer, our 1 blind lasts longer, and our Gloom does not consume as much energy when there's enemies within the radius. Then we have Arcane Guardian for more armor, so we're tankier, and Arcane Blessing for more HP. If you wanted, you could go Grace for extra health regen when we take damage, but honestly, we're getting so much heals from Gloom that this isn't necessary. Another option would be Arcane Reaper. I think I sold all my Arcane Reapers, actually, yeah. So that if you get melee kills, you can get another 660 armor. The health regen is worthless, but the armor's nice. But that's also not necessary. I think Blessing and Guardian are the best in this build specifically. Your Exilus can be whatever you want. Mobilize is a good option because it gives you parkour velocity, so you're faster. What I normally run here is, where is it? A Mars Anguish, so we get parkour velocity and sprint speed. But I know a lot of people won't have this. It's not a rare mod, but it drops from the weird armor bounties in the open world places, which are, there's not much reason in doing those normally. So you run any Exilus you want here, it doesn't really matter. Now, you can run any weapons you want. I personally like to use Ceramic Dagger here because it's a very nice weapon with the Incarnon. It does a lot of damage, very strong, and you can run Covert Lethality for more finisher damage, which is nice for when you're doing finishers and ground finishers to spawn the cats. Oh yes, I forgot. Desiccation's Curse here so that we can spawn Swarm Kavats and spread the Scarab Swarm. I have a previous video where I went over you can spawn Kavats and they can spread the swarm, and the swarm can propagate on its own without having your 4, right? That way you can put Swarm Kavats on any Warframe. But after further testing, I figured something out which is a bit unfortunate, and that's why I say read the pinned comment in the title, and I updated the pinned comment to go over it. If you put Desiccation on Warframe over their 1, 2, or 3 and run the augment, it will make it so you have 5. You can get 5 Swarm Kavats. It says +2, but the game, I was wrong in my original assumption. I originally assumed that the game sets it to 5 rather than +2 with the augments. But instead, it seems that it assumes every Warframe has Scarab Swarm, the ability on, even though they don't actually have it, so they get the inherent 3 cats as a cap. So if you subsume it over their 1, 2, or 3, any other Warframe, and you run Desiccation's Curse, you can spawn up to 5 Kavats. But if you subsume Desiccation over their 4 ability, and you use Desiccation's Curse, you are only going to be able to have 2 Kavats, and the same stays true for Inaros. So in this case, because we have Gloom over his 4, we only get 2 Kavats at max, which is unfortunate, but it's still nice to have the Kavats, which is why I run this. You don't have to, but I personally like it. That way we can still spread the swarm, and then if you have 2 green shards, the swarm can still full strip as well. So like I said, I like using Ceramic Dagger so that it's easier to get finisher kills, just so we can spawn the Kavats easier. Now, I will show real quick that you can only have 2 cats. First, we're going to want to build up our combo. Oh, we got knocked down midair. That was unfortunate. Oh my god, it keeps happening. Hang on a second. There we go. Now we build up our combo. And we're gonna run back here, reset them just to make life easier so that they don't all die. Come back in. Do this. 1 cat. 2 cats. And as you can see, even though we get more finisher kills, it will not spawn more cats. But it will still spread the swarm, just like I show in my video. I'll have the video linked or like showing at the end of this video as a suggestion, the old Inaros video, so you can watch that if you want to. So Gloom here, I will now show its effectiveness. We're going to take damage, then I'll cast it, and then I'll start dealing damage. You can see how fast we heal. We want to get fairly low, so I'll wait till we're down to like 2,000 health. Da 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 ba 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 ba. Okay, we're close. So we cast Gloom, and any enemy within the radius that we damage, we will get lifesteal on. So we're fairly low on HP, but if we start whacking these guys, as you can see, it is very effective. As long as we're not getting one shot by enemies, this makes us pretty much invincible as long as we continue to damage enemies. It is extremely strong. And on top of that, it's also doing what Gloom normally does, which is it slows enemies down, giving us crowd control, which is very nice. It also makes it so they like go through the weird animation slower when you use Desiccate on them. But that's kind of irrelevant because they're blinded regardless while Desiccate is active, and Desiccate has its own duration. However, it does have synergy with his 2. So actually here, let's make them a higher level so they don't all die. We can actually pause them now. So if we deactivate Gloom here, cast their 2, when it ends, it drops all of the enemies at our feet on the ground. Sometimes they'll get up immediately like that. Most of the time that will happen. But sometimes they'll like wait and they'll be stuck on the ground, see how most of them are, and they'll click, watch. They like click back into action. It's really weird. But I find most of the time they'll get up immediately. But while they're on the ground, you can perform a ground finisher. And that can actually spawn sand cats, which makes it a lot easier to spawn them instead of having to do standing finisher. Just ground finisher, bam, the cats have spawned. But you have the problem of when they don't click before they get back up and they just like go immediately back up, they can get up faster than you can finish them, and they'll stand up enough that it won't count as a ground finisher. But Gloom actually slows down how fast they get up because it slows down everything they do. So now if we do this and then they go down, as you can see, they get up much, much slower. And see, once they start to get up, it takes much longer before they get up. So it just makes it so they stay grouped and on the ground much longer. It's a very nice little synergy right there to have. So you can just suck them up, desiccate, and then do that and spawn all your cats while also doing some big PP damage and also getting ungodly amounts of heals as long as they're within the radius, which they will be if you suck them in and drop them at your feet. I think it's a pretty good ability. I know Gloom's good on everybody, but it's especially good on Inaros because of the lifesteal and being able to slow down how fast they get up from Sandstorm. It's quite nice, and I think this is my favorite helmet on him so far. I most of the time actually don't use a helmet because I think his base kit is really good. But this is also very, very strong if you just want to go as tanky as you possibly can be. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Oh, actually, we'll go over the pet real quick. I don't have any pet on him. You can run it whatever you want. Also, this is my Inaros fashion. I went for a sort of Anubis kind of color. I don't know. The black and gold and blue makes me think of Anubis. I don't remember why. Probably because of some anime. I'm not running the Anubis helmet though that is a good option. I don't like how it clips. So we have the Ramses helmet. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, then leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike so I know it was due to water. If you want to see more content like this, very low quality, shitty recording and mic, then subscribe. Adios.